Week 1 NFL predictions, let's get into it. First things first, I'm the most accurate predictor on this app, so keep this in mind before you comment any nonsense down below. The NFL kickoff game, the Dallas Cowboys are going into Philadelphia. It's going to be box office. Look, the Cowboys are 7-point underdogs, and I think that is a bad line. I'm taking Cowboys +7 every day of the week. I'm also taking the over. The over is 46. I think the Cowboys are going to lose 27-28. I think this is a 50-50 game. I'm going to give the slight edge to the Eagles. I believe they're able to close games better because of Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts, but I could see this being a shootout. I could see this getting into the mid to high 30s, and in that case, I think the Cowboys, Dak Prescott's arm, George Pickens and company, CeeDee Lamb, this could be a barn burner of a game. 27-28 is still a pretty good game, especially for opening night, and we have been starved of football. Eagles money line, Cowboys +7, over 46. Cash them all. Now, Friday Night Football. A few things I don't like about this. It's Chargers at Chiefs, but it's not really at Chiefs because they're playing in Mexico or Brazil. Who cares where they're playing? I don't know why this game isn't in Kansas City. Division rivals in Week 1, two good teams. You know, if you want to send the Jets and the Raiders to France, I don't care about them. We're going to send two elite teams, division rivals. This game's going to matter, and we're playing Week 1 on a Friday night. Seriously, give me a break. I've got the Chargers 22-21. I do think they'll win the game. I do have them +3, obviously, and I do think it's going to be under the 45-point spread by just a hair. I probably wouldn't bet the point spread because I think we're going to be right at around 45. And look, the Chiefs can't keep winning close games. You cannot continue to win close games every single year. They're going to lose a few close games. Even if they win more than they lose, this one's going to be a loss for them. And I like Chargers +3 a lot. Now, on to the 1 o'clock games. And these are some good ones, some bad ones. This one's going to be a bad one. I will not be watching this game. Steelers at Jets. Steelers are -3. I have them winning 17-13. So I guess I'm taking the Steelers. Look, I wouldn't touch this game with a 10-foot pole. I wouldn't touch this game with a 100-foot pole. You're going to see some of the worst. You would have to pay me to watch this football game. I don't care how much my parlay is going for. I don't care if I'm going to win $1 million betting on this game. I cannot watch these two anemic offenses. I mean, the only cool part about this is you have the quarterbacks flipping. That's amazing. They both still suck. So I guess I've got the Steelers winning. I mean, that doesn't mean much because both these teams suck. Cool, Steelers win. I've got it going under 37 as well. I mean, does anyone care about this game? I don't. Dolphins at Colts. Dolphins are +1, which is insane to me. I think that line is going to end up flipping to -1 to the Dolphins by the time this game is played. I've got the Dolphins winning 30-20 at the Colts. Look, the Colts don't even know who the quarterback's going to be. They just announced it's Daniel Jones. If your quarterback is going to be Daniel Jones, that means you don't have a quarterback. You might as well suit me up out there. I have more life. I've got a more lively arm than Daniel Jones. Correction. He probably is a more lively arm, but it's to the wrong team, so it doesn't matter. I mean, he throws pretty spirals to the defense. That's amazing. Dolphins, though, their offense, especially in September in a dome when everybody's healthy, this team is nothing to scoff at. September Dolphins, especially down there in Miami or in domes, they're a pretty good football team. The over-under is 45. Obviously, I think they get above that by a good margin. I got the Dolphins money line. I got the spread for the Dolphins, and I have the over. Now, another team. We got a game here. Cardinals at Saints. Cardinals are -8. I think the Cardinals make a statement in Week 1 and win 41-3 against the Saints. The Saints stink. The Cardinals have an improved offensive line. Kyler Murray is pretty dynamic when healthy and when engaged, and he's always engaged in Week 1. And I think the Cardinals are going to rout the Saints. I think the Saints will have nothing for this Cardinals team. This Cardinals team is very underrated, and I would watch out for them. This is the kind of game that takes them from the middle of the pack to top 10 in the point spread. Not in the point spread, in the power rankings. The over-under for that game is 42. I have it going over, not by much. Another 1 o'clock game, and this is a game I probably am going to try to watch. It is Bucks at Falcons. Division foes. You know, Falcons are up and coming with Michael Penix, London, Bijan, Kyle Pitts if he ever plays. This Buccaneers team is very good, though. Very good. I've got the Falcons winning 26-24. The Falcons are +1, so it's essentially a pick 'em. And it's a really close game for me personally. Obviously, the public thinks it's close as well because it's essentially a pick 'em. Falcons are at home. I think the Bucks might sleep on it a little bit. I think the Falcons have a lot to prove. I could see it going either way. I'm going to go Falcons. I'm going to go Falcons 26-24. Point spread for this game is 46. I think it goes over. I think these are two elite offenses. Panthers at Jags. I think people are overhyping the Panthers just a tad. Look, last year in point differential, they were last. Are they going to be better this year, especially on offense? Probably. I don't think they're going to have it all figured out in week one. I think the Jags are a better team. They have a better defense and a better offense. I've got the Jags winning 25-18. The spread is -2, which essentially means it's a pick 'em because the Jags are at home. I think the Jags are just a better team all around than the Panthers, and I think they get the job done. Point spread for that one is 46. I have it going slightly under. Now, we are on to the Bengals at the Browns. Now, the perennial question every single year. Will the Bengals play good in week one? Last year, we all picked them to beat the Patriots. At least I did. And I know if you're saying, no, I actually knew the Patriots. No, you didn't. Stop lying. I've got the Bengals finally getting it done this year, beating the Browns, division foes, 21-10. Look, the Bengals can't keep losing in week one. It just isn't possible. Unless there's something in the genetics of Joe Burrow and his coaching staff, Jamar Chase, maybe there's some sort of, these guys are like animals, and they don't wake up until it gets like a little bit colder, and the days get a little bit shorter. I don't know, but it's not making a lot of sense to me that they can never get it done. So I've got the Bengals covering the 5.5 point spread. I have it going under 45. Now on to my upset of the week. Now we technically have had a few upsets, but when we talk about upsets, you know, if a team's favored by 1 or 2 points, that's not really an upset. Upset of the week, I've got the Giants beating the Commanders 23-21. Giants are 6.5 point dogs. I think the Commanders are severely overrated. I think that Giants defensive line, as well as Malik Neighbors and crew. Russell Wilson's going to be playing decent-ish, better than Daniel Jones was. And I think they're going to get the job done. I think the Giants coming out party, they're going to be 8-9, 9-8. They're going to be a feisty team. You don't want to face the Giants. They're not a pushover anymore. Raiders at Patriots. Honestly, I don't even really want to discuss this game. These are the two worst teams in the AFC. The offenses both suck. I mean, I've talked ad nauseum about how both these teams suck. I couldn't even really decide who was going to win. I ended up going with the Patriots because they're at home. I have them winning 10-9. The Patriots are 3-point favorites, so I guess I'll take them. But once again, this is like the Steelers and Jets. If you bet on the Patriots and Raiders, you couldn't pay me to bet on these kind of games. And there's people out there that are going to be betting on touchdown props. Buddy, there's only going to be a couple touchdowns, maybe 2 in this game. So I wouldn't be betting on anybody to be scoring touchdowns. The best bet in these 2 games, the Jets and Steelers and the Patriots and Raiders, is to bet no touchdown scores. That's probably the best bet, honestly. Titans at Broncos. I think the Titans cover. I think they lose 10-13. Look, these are the 2 best defenses of the 2024 season. And you're like, the Titans? Yes, the Titans were the 2nd best defense in the NFL from a yards per game standpoint. Now, some of that was because they were never on defense because Will Levis would fumble 6 or pick 6 or something crazy. The Titans have a decent defense. And both these offenses are average to below average. Both are elite defenses. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I've got the Titans +7. I've got the Broncos money line, and I have it going under as well. Next game on the docket, 49ers at Seahawks. Look, I've got the 49ers winning 26-17. I don't think the Seahawks are all that special. I think the Seahawks are severely overrated. And look, in the NFL, a lot of times it just comes down to who's a better quarterback. Brock Purdy's better than Sam Darnold. I mean, he just is. I don't know what to tell you. And Seattle's not as ruckus. It's not as loud. You need to wait until mid-October, early November when it gets really loud in there. I mean, the Seahawks aren't winning week one. Next game, and this could be a game of the week. I like this game a lot. Lions at Packers. I have the Packers winning 30-28. And look, a lot of people are saying that they're surprised the Packers are favored in this game. I have these teams neck and neck in my power rankings. I have them 4-3. I've got the Packers 4. I've got the Lions 3. And you might say, well, why do you have the Packers winning? Look, the Packers are at home. And at the end of the day, when I've got teams this close, I think these are very even teams. Packers are at home. I mean, that's really all it comes down to. On a neutral field, I guess I've got the Lions winning because I have them above them in the power rankings. But I don't think this is a trap. A lot of people think this is a trap, and they're like, yeah, just bet the Lions. The Lions are +1. I don't think so. Texans and Rams. Now, this is an interesting game. A lot of people might think this is a game of the week, and I strongly disagree. I think that the Texans' offensive line is going to be horrendous to start the season. Matthew Stafford is injured, might not play. If he does play, he's going to be severely hampered. And I think this is going to be one of the games that everyone expects to be good, that they send Tony Romo and Jim Nantz out to, that they send the best broadcasters out to. Tickets are super expensive, and I think it's going to be a dud. I've got the Texans winning 14-13, Texans +2. Money line, obviously, got the Texans. I've got them +2 on the spread. I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game. A lot of people are expecting this to be the sleeper game of the week. The Packers and Lions, Ravens and Bills, those are the obvious games of the week. The real brains, the real nerds, they think it's the Texans at Rams. It is not the Texans at Rams. That game's going to be a dud. Now, Ravens and Bills, look, I'm a Ravens fan. I might be a little bit biased here, but I have the Ravens winning 34-0. Look, I'm calling my shot. I think the Ravens are going to go 16-1. I think this will be one of the most dominant from a point differential standpoint teams in NFL history. I think it'll be top 5 in terms of point differential, the amount of points you scored minus the amount of points you gave up. I think this will be one of the best teams of all time, and I'm calling my shot. I think you're going to have a dominant week 1, 34-0. Obviously, I've got the Ravens point spread. They're +1. Now, last game of the week, Vikings at Bears. I think this is going to be kind of a rocky game. I think it's going to be a rocky game for the Vikings. J.J. McCarthy, I'm not a big fan of him, and especially in week 1, it's going to be pretty bumpy against a decent Bears defense on the road. Monday Night Football. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I've got the Bears winning 19-9. I think Caleb Williams is still going to be getting adjusted to this offense, and I think they'll handle business. They're +1. The Bears are. I think that's a big miss. I think that line is going to move as we get closer to the game. Similar to the Dolphins and the Colts, I think that line is also going to move in the favor of the Dolphins and for the Bears in the favor to the Bears. And those are my predictions. The upset of the week is the Giants. And my lock of the week, I didn't actually write anything down for my lock of the week. I'm going to go Cardinals over the Saints. I'm going to, it's my biggest point differential of 38 points. You could go Ravens, Bills. I obviously have the Ravens winning by 34 points. But I'm going to go Cardinals as my lock of the week, and upset of the week is going to be my Giants.